Hello, my name is Dr. Prashant Upadhyay and I welcome you all on this course of Introduction to Python Programming and its application. In this course, we will going to teach you how to write a program in Python and how to use the Python code for building a machine learning application. So the overview of this course will be like this.
Course that we will be going to cover will be we will be talking about the Python programming, how to write a program in a Python. Okay, and for writing this Python program we will be using a Google Colab. Most of you maybe have heard about this Google Colab, and for some of you it is a new. Okay, then we will going to first talk about the data types in the Pythons. What are the basic data types in the Python that are used, or these are the data types which are being used in any of the programming language. Okay, then what are the advanced data types in a Python? Then we will going to talk about some of the concept of our modules and the packages. Okay, so here what we will try to do is that we will going to build up a small programming skills of writing a code. Okay, we will be writing a small codes on a Google Colab. We will be talking about is that introduction to machine learning. Okay, with that why we have moved into the machine learning programming and what is the need of this machine learning programming. And then we will going to develop some of the application using these machine learning algorithms. And then we will be talking about what are the area in which we can implement these machine learnings. Okay, so this is the whole structure which we will going to follow. I want to let you know also that I have a different approach of teaching, and in this approach what we will going to do is that we will start writing a wrong code. Okay, and when we are writing a wrong code, what will going to happen is that we will going to get the errors. Okay, and these error, after reading this error we will going to correct our codes. If you are able to read the error codes, you can do any programming, whether it is a Python, whether it is a C, Java, whatever the C hash, whatever the programming language, they all have a similar structures. Okay, maybe the syntax are different, but the patterns, the way of writing the codes are almost same. Okay, the error which is being generated, maybe the language may be different, but the idea will be almost similar. So we will going to focus on writing the code and finding out the errors from. Also, before starting this lecture, I would like to acknowledge all the contents which I have used in my PPTs. Okay, any figures, any website resources, any images. Okay, so these are only being used for the teaching purpose only. Okay, to share the knowledge. Maybe when we are talking about the writing a code, what we are doing. So there are two things we are generally doing. Either we are writing a code or we are editing the code. Doing some programming. Almost 80 to 90% what we are doing, we are editing the codes. So basically when we are talking about the writing and editing of a code, okay, what we are doing. I'm talking about any of the programming, whether it is a Python, C, C hash, Java, PHP, whatever the thing, the structure will going to remain the same. Okay, then you will going to run it with the some input. You will going to give the some input for, let's say if you are writing a program to find the even number, so you will going to give the input as an even number. Okay, so let's say if you've given 2 or you will go into 3, you will get the output. Okay, so after running that code, what you will going to see that is your program is okay or not. If your program is not okay, what you will going to do? You will going to again go read and write the code. Again, what you will going to do? You will going to repeat this process again. You will going to give the again the input, some inputs, and if your program is okay, then you will going to check your program with more inputs. So let's say I have an input A. First input set of A I have given. I have checked my program is working comfortably with the A sets of inputs. Now I will going to give a B sets of input. Now if my program again fails with the B sets of input, what I have to do? I have to write the again my program, or I have to edit the program again. More inputs, run, okay. If not okay, go back. If okay, yes, then If you know you have checked all the inputs, you don't require any inputs, then what is done that you have successfully written your program. So this is the approach which every coder is using. We are not writing a code at a once. We write a code, we test the code, whether the code is running perfectly or not. So this concept is clear to you. Now, why we are going for the Python? So you will going to see that a lot of focus is being given on the Python. So we have to understand why the Python is becoming very much popular. Why the Python is popular, or we can say a powerful, because it is a fast. Okay. Fast in the sense we are saying that we are able to do the coding very easily, and the coding is running easily on any of the systems. Therefore, we are saying that the Python code which you have written on the system 1 or a system 2, it will going to run everywhere. Next, we are talking about that it is a friendly. Why we are saying it's a friendly and easy to learn? Because it is easy to understand. For example, if I say that I have to print something, I am using a statement of print. So you can see that this print statement, I can use it as a syntax in a Python. Whereas if you are familiar with some of the other language, we are using some printf. So you can see that there is a small difference between the print and printf. So when we are writing any codes, we prefer that the syntax should be very much easy. So let's say if I want to give an input, so if a syntax is input, then it is very easy for me to write a code. If I'm syntax is having an output, so I think that the programming language is very much easy for anyone to understand. It is an open source. Okay. So open source means that you can download it, you can use it, you don't have to buy any license. Okay, you can use it for the education purpose, for your commercial purpose. Okay, or even if you want to develop some of your libraries, you can develop your libraries. Okay, so it is an open source coding platform. The next thing is that what are the features of the Python? So when we are talking about the Python feature, as I have already told you, that it is easy to code. Okay, for example, if I have to write print hello, okay, I know that this will going to print some hello statement. If I put this code in front of any student, and if I ask you that kid that what this statement will going to do, so it say it is printing something, then easy to read, print hello, it is easy to read. So I can say that it is easy to read also. Okay, the next thing is that we have to talk about the high level programming language. So when we are talking about the programming language, so we have got the classification of a language. One is known as the low level programming language. Okay, then the middle level programming language, and then we have got a high level programming language. So generally when we are talking about the low level programming language, that is also known as the machine level programming language. So why we are saying that it is a machine level programming language? Because whatever the devices we are using, whether it is your laptop, mobile, camera, your headphone, they only understand the machine language. And when we are talking about the machine language, what we are saying, we are talking about something in the form of zeros and ones. Okay, whether we are converting into the binary or we are using the hexadecimals or the octal, okay, it different way, but we have a concept of that we are converting the codes into the 0 and 1. That interfacing will going to be provided easy with the machine, and therefore whatever the language program we write in a high level language, it is being converted into the low level language. Some of you have also heard about the C programming language. So sometimes the C programming language, in some books you can find that C programming language is considered as a high level programming language, and some books say that C programming language is a middle level programming language. And why C is considered as a middle level programming language? Because when we are going for some of the addressing scheme, so whether it is a port addressing or the your, let's say I have to connect this web camera with the USB port, so I have to do some port addressing. So at that time my C programming will provide me a better capability than the high level programming languages like Python. So high level means that we are writing a code which is easily readable and understand by the human being. So whether it is an English language, we are writing a code in the English language or the Chinese language. So this is the meaning of a high level programming language. We are talking about the interpreter. So Python is an interpreter. Okay. So when we are talking about the, as I have told you that we are, whether it is a device, your laptop, mobile or anything, we want that the things has to be converted into a low level or a machine level programming language. So what we have to do, we require something that should convert that programming language into the low level code. For example, let's say I write here hello. Okay, I have written here hello. For me, this is hello, but for the machine, this is not hello. Okay, for the machine, what hello will be, I'm just taking an example only, it can be like that 001100110 or whatever the thing is. Okay, so that means this is the machine understandable codes. Okay, and the hello which we have written is the human understandable code. Okay, so we have to do the interfacing between the human understanding and the machine understanding. For that, what we are using a compiler and the interpreter. Okay, so we are using two things, compiler and the interpreter. So what the compiler is doing, compiler is compiling all the program, whatever the code you have written in a single run. However, interpreter, what it will going to do is that it will going to execute the code line by line. Okay, so whatever the code we are writing in a Python, it will going to be executed line by line. Now, portable. Now, why we are saying it portable? Because we have to write a program, okay, which do not require very large memory space, and because we are using some programming concept and we are burning that programs into the memory chips and all, so we don't require very huge hardware to store our program. I have a system and I want to develop some, let's say, IoT application. So I can develop a IoT application with the help of writing a Python program, burn it into the IC. Then we are talking about the object oriented. Okay, object oriented means that which has got the classes. We are talking about the classes, we are talking about the inheritance and all. So at that time we are talking about that this Python is the object oriented. So object oriented means when we are talking about the object oriented programming language. Okay, so object oriented programming, what it means that when we are considering something as an object, okay, and every object has a type. Okay, so what we can do in the Python, that we can create a new object. If we have any object, we can manipulate that object, and even we can destroy that object. We will going to talk about this object, and you will going to see that everything in the Python, where whatever the thing you are using in a Python is an object. GUI programming. Okay, so sometimes what happens is that when we are doing the programming, okay, if I want to select an input or I have to give an input, I want that there should be some GUI in which they will going to say, okay, you have to press this. Okay, so let's say I'm saying there is some button. Okay, so in this button there it is written press. Okay, so something will going to come on the screen and I say press it. Okay, though we are giving the input, but what we are doing, we are giving the input in the form of a GUI. So GUI stands for the graphic user interface. That means if we want to make up our program to be more interactive with the user, what we are using? We are using the GUI concept. For example, you are using the Windows. Okay, you can use this window with the help of a command prompt also. You have a CMD in a laptop. Okay, you can run any of the program with the help of a CMD. Okay, but what you are doing, you are not using the CMD because you are not getting maybe we can say that we are not having that much habitual of writing a code or running a program through the command terminus. Okay, what we are doing, we are saying, okay, if I want to click, I want to open that folder, I will double click on that folder. If I want to open some game, I will double click on that game. Okay, if I want to play some music, I will double click on this. Okay, music. And if I want to suppose I want to refresh, I will click on it, and then there will be option of a refresh. I will. So Python provide you a very good interfacing of a GUI. So therefore, this are the some of the features of a Python that are being used, and they are extensively used by the programmer to make their programming good. A very important part is that why the Python is becoming more and more popular is the because it has got a set of large standard libraries. Whatever you want, task you want to do, you don't have to write the code for that. Search that library, it will already be present in the Python. So we have got a Python packages, we have got some Python modules that we will going to talk into the later of this course. So if let's say if you want to, what is the today date? Okay, you write a command and the today date and timing will going to come. You don't have to write a program, separate program in which you will going to say what is the today date. Suppose I want to work nowadays, what is happening is that when we are shifting from the very basic of a programming skills. Okay, that means nowadays we are not only writing a code of addition of a number or division of a number or filling a Google form. But what we want, we are also collecting the data. That nowadays we are working on more on the data. Whether we are going for the collection of a data student, we have to collect the student data. We are going for the NBA or the NAC accreditations or the Abbott accreditations. We are collecting the data. In a similar way, what we are doing, we are when we are talking about the AI, ML, machine learning, algorithms, artificial intelligence, we want to make what we have to do, we have to collect the data and how this data should be collected and processed. For that we have to build some libraries also. So if we start doing everything from the scratch, we are not able to write our program. So what we are doing, we are taking the help of some external libraries that are being inbuilt or they are pre-existing, and we only do what, we write one line of code, and that all the functionality of that program which we required will going to be come into your Python program, and you can use it. We will be using what are the different type of standard libraries when we will be talking about the machine learning. Okay, we will be using some of the libraries like pandas, numpys, skylern, and then we will be using the matplotlibs. I hope this feature of the Python is clear to you. So as I have told you that this Python is very friendly and easy to learn. It is an open source. So what I have feel that this Python programming is the one of the easiest programming language, and even you will going to agree that now in the school levels also the students are learning this Python from the class 4th 5th. They are starting learning the Python programming, and even the person who are in the age of 50 plus or 60 plus, they are still learning this Python libraries. So there is no age limit for learning the programming, and this Python programming, since it is easy to learn, so people are learning this. Another advantage which we have got is that, as I have told you, this application part. So this application which we have got, so we have got a Python package index that is known as the P by PI, and this is the part in a Python which is hosting thousands of third-party modules that you can use and install on your system. Whether you want to develop your web and internet development program, whether you want to write a program for the database access. So generally when we are talking about the Python, so I'm not going into the very much deep, I'm just taking an overview of the Python only. So when we are talking about the Python, we are saying that whenever we have got this Python, a programming language, we have to write this program somewhere. For example, if a student is there, he start writing. Where he start writing? He start writing on their notebook. And nowadays, the new generation, what they are doing, instead of writing on a notebook, they start writing on the tablets and all. So that means the things are same. We have to write, but where we have to write, the scenario is changed. So like this, when we are writing a code, programming code, whether we are writing a C plus code or a C hash code or some Java code or our Python code, we require the IDE. that stand for the integrated development environment. Basically what this IDLE is, sometime you will going to find this IDE or IDLE, integrated development and learning environment. So basically it is a software pack that consists of equipment that are being used for developing testing the software. For example, if suppose the task is given to me that I have to write a program in which I have to do the grading of the student. So instead of writing and giving the grading manually to the student, what I can do, I can write a program that if the student is getting anything above 90, I can say, okay, the grade will be the A plus. If the student is getting the marks between, let's say, 80 to 90, I can say it is A, like this, vice versa. So what I can do, I can write this program. And then what I have to do, I have written a program, I have to test it. Okay, so where I will be using, I will be using it on this IDE platform. So this is the developing and testing software, we can say. As we are talking about the programming language, so every programming language has got their extension. So some of you have, those who have worked on the IoTs, so they may be using the Arduino. Okay, so when you are writing a program on the Arduino IDE, you have got the extension INO. When you are writing a program in C, you have got an extension .c. When you are writing a program in MATLAB, you have got the extension .m. Similarly, when we are writing program in a Python, we have got the extension .py. So we have got an extension .py. Now, sometime you will going to see that we have got the extension. Sometime you are downloading the files from the net, okay, and you will going to find that we have got this IPYNB extension. When you are getting a file in which that extension is IPYNB, that means that you have got this program which is written in the interactive notebook. So generally it stands for the interactive notebook or interactive Python notebooks. Like when we are talking about, if you have done some programming in the Anaconda, Jupyter notebooks. So when you are saving this file, you have got the .ipynb format. So this ipynb format stands for the IPython notebook. In some time you will going to see it is written as the IPython notebook, and IPython stands for the interactive Python notebook. So these are the two extensions you will going to see. So what will be the difference that we will going to see? We have a popular Python IDLE software that has been developed by the Python community. If we try to open this IPynb format on this Python, it will going to open, but it will not going to run. Next, we have got different types of Python, like we have got a Emacs Python, PyCharms, Spiders, Thorny. This is the popular Python which I was talking about, Python IDLE, Visual Studio Codes, Jupyter Notebooks, Anaconda, and Google Colab. Okay, and many more. So I have selected some of the IDE which are being popularly used. Okay, or we can say that they are coming in the top 10 ranking. So you can see that nowadays, if you are those who are familiar with this Python programming and all, you must have heard about this Anaconda name. Okay, you must have heard about this Spider name. You must have heard about this Jupyter name. Okay, and those who are also doing some programming in the Python, they may have also heard about this Google Colab. Okay, so basically what we are today here going to discuss is about the Google Colab. How can we make more usefulness of this Google Colab? And we will going to discuss what are the advantages of this Google Colab. For example, suppose I want to write a code. Some assignment is given to me. I came from the, let's say, office, or if I'm a student, I came from my university. Teacher has given me the assignment to write some code. And suddenly when I went to my home, my system do not respond. And anyhow, that assignment or was given to me was very important, and I have to submit it tomorrow only. So what I have to do? Either I have to ask or borrow someone other laptop. I have to install these software on this, and I have to complete my assignment, or I have to go to the market and ask a computer repair person that what happens to my laptop, please check it. I have some urgent work. That means here what we can see that we are becoming have got the dependency on the software. So if I'm having a software, with me, I'm able to do my work. So with the help of this Google Colab, what we are doing is that we are breaking this dependency. So now what we will going to see that, okay, who can do the programming, who can write a code on this Google Colab? Some of you are using the mobile phone, this tablet, or some of you are using the your laptop. So now from here I will be talking about the
So in the next lecture, I will be talking about introduction to Google Colab.